Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have two pieces of content, the shrimp seafood mukbang in Kuwait and her grocery haul video. I know I missed a couple of things in between there, but I was back at school and it was a tiring week. I didn't actually get to sleep any better after I spoke to you last, so it's only really last night I've been able to try and correct that. Let's just mess it up again with a little bit of coffee, shall we? Now, I'm going to do a full react to both of these, but I'm going to try and cut it down in my post-edit just to make sure it doesn't go on too long, because neither of them are that exciting, really. I think that Foodie is properly leaning into this. If I don't mention it for long enough, it will go away in regards to the whole Salah storyline. Another set of text messages were released in between, and Foodie did delete all of the videos where she was addressing the infidelity. So given that we've got two videos right here, let's just get into this, shall we? That background is really loud. If she's really loud, I'll reduce it. This was recorded before my weigh-in, so yes, I still lost weight, even though I've been eating more than lettuce, lol. Oh good, not defensive at all then. I realise that she's trying to get these questions because she would rather we question this than the situation. So let me just reassure everybody before we get into this, no one is going to forget what's going on with Salah. I realise she's going to present this, hoping we will, but we won't. And we're going to get a combination of very, very benign videos in her mind where she doesn't have a lot to talk about because she's purposefully not talking about this, or we're going to get deliberate rage baiting in regards to her health to try and get people mad about that instead of thinking about other things. Or in a weird way, a combination of both.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello. So my question, well, I have many questions about this, let's put it that way, but my question about this at the moment. Number one, she's got the blue eyeshadow on. So this was the same day as the addressing new things video. Did she eat this before or after? Because this has the sense of I'm eating my feelings, right? It is a complete platter. Clearly it's designed for a few people. You wouldn't just order this yourself. There's multiple sets of like dressing and things. They're intending it to be shared. Of course, Foodie doesn't share it. Secondly, can someone tell me where exactly she's sitting right now? Because you can see the couch in the background. So her couch is like a U shape, the three couches they have. But she doesn't look far enough back to be sitting on the sofa. So is she just sitting underneath the coffee table with, obviously there's something on top of the coffee table to bring the food up high enough? I'm just wondering about the angle. Something feels off about it.
I'm so hungry. I'm having a pretty big meal. I'm really hungry. Yeah. This is the first big meal I've had since coming back. I know I showed, my big breakfast, but I didn't eat that much. We had a lot of leftovers. We still do. Okay. So let me just take bismillah and get the...
In the timeline, I'm not sure how soon after this was filmed. Yes, we know addressing, so this was probably a few days ago, but wasn't the breakfast the first day back? She is being purposefully very messy with the timelines at the moment because it makes us harder to track things and the order she's doing things in. This is old footage, but I have questions about the grocery haul as well, which we'll get to.
So I have a shrimp platter here with some brown rice.
Yeah. Keyword platter. It's also deep fried. It's also a metric fuck ton of rice. Tell me again what the diabetic doctor told you about your eating. Tell me again, because I need to hear it.
Shrimp? What's the plural of shrimp? Shrimp?
It's hard to believe she studied English, isn't it?
Eggplant, bread, fresh bread, tahina, mabuch, and some kind of salad with...
That thing that she calls a salad always confuses me. It looks like it's a pickle, but apparently not.
Like juices, vegetable juice. There's little French fries mixed in between all the food. It's whatever.
I feel like this must have been filmed after the rage, because had she eaten this before the rage, I think she would have been soothed a little. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she ate this and then she was kind of angry at herself that she ate this and came out and raged about other things.
Mabuch. So let's get into
Nothing interesting. Seems weird to have with this. I thought that was like a laban, but even that seems a bit weird to me.
Just dip it in the tahina.
I would have thought something more tart.
You know how some mukbangers do that?
When she says some mukbangers, I don't watch a huge range of them, but I've seen Anne Boleyn go like, I think she's copying that.
When they take a bite of something good, it's a French fry with the rice.
Oh, she's got French fries on that as well. How weird.
I love this bread, but it has wheat germ on it, so it gets messy.
I don't necessarily think that's your biggest problem with this bread right now, but maybe I should blood sugar. Or any of the other number of organs that currently appear to be struggling.
So I'm feeling the after effects of that journey.
I bet you are. You were not well prepared for it. Even with Salah's help in Thailand, we saw how much she was struggling to move around.
I'm in a lot of pain. I have back pain that is so bad.
She spent a lot of time in the Kia when she was in Canada, and then she did her plane journey, and she had back problems before. It doesn't surprise me at all that she's having trouble now. But you would think, given that she supposedly, according to her, went back to Canada to try and get surgery, and then gave up on that, and then gave us the whole speech about how concerned she was about her health, and she was going to do a follow-up with the diabetic doctor, that she wouldn't be talking about ailments that she has caused herself in her body while inhaling a family-sized platter of deep-fried takeout. You would think.
I learned something today that if you're on a long-haul flight...
You learned something today?
Especially if you're going to try to sleep, you have to recline. Like, I didn't recline the whole time because I'm afraid of being, like, just being inconsiderate.
That's never been my experience with Foodie.
It's a stupid thing because they make the chairs that way.
They do. And also, Foodie has a lot of trouble fitting in. We saw in Thailand how she was struggling with her seat. I can't imagine she could have managed without reclining some of it, but apparently.
You can just lift it up when it's time for meal service, you know?
Yeah. I love how she explains this to us. The crew working the airplane at the time will go through the rows and ask people around you, like, hey, could you please put your seat up for meal service so that people can be comfortable in their own chairs.
I've eaten from this place many times in Mukbang.
Yes, you have. Learned nothing apparently, but yes, you have.
But I'm regretting it because
I'm dying. Not regretting it enough to stop eating. Just, Some of the stuff she says, like when you actually think back and play it over in your head, oh man, it makes no sense.
Man, my back. And then sciatica,
that she hasn't been diagnosed with.
Is on my right side, goes down my leg.
It could be, but she hasn't been diagnosed, she hasn't been to a doctor, because what's the doctor going to say? No, it's definitely something you can't do anything about, here's some pills. It's going to be like, hey, your body seems to be at breaking point, and you've got diabetes, and you've got this pain. I think maybe losing some weight might help you. So she doesn't go because she doesn't want to hear it.
And I'm feeling jet lagged, like actual jet lag.
What date are we on? It's the 11th.
I cannot sleep for more than 2.5 to 3 hours at a time.
You know something I really noticed in this video? She is really struggling to make eye contact with the camera. And it's really evasive when she starts talking about things and she's like, oh yeah. She's really self-conscious right now. Not self-conscious enough to not be eating on the internet because she wants that conversation to keep going. But especially if this was the day she then raged about the new text messages, she knows exactly what people are talking about. And she doesn't have a topic of conversation. She just wants anything out that's not that. Because again, look how unbothered she is. So this whole Salah conversation has basically become this elephant in the room that she's sort of trying to work around.
I'm also going to be getting a maid. It's very common for people to have maids here.
There's been a lot of talk about this, and I understand it from both sides. So I actually have a cleaner that comes in. I don't call her a maid, but she does the job that I think very much would be the job Foodie is hiring for. And it is really common to have them here. So basically, domestic help comes over on a special visa and you hire them as a nanny or a cleaner or a driver or something. So a lot of the people who work on like domestic visas here try and make a little bit of extra money. And so while they're finishing up their job elsewhere, or if they are in the house during the day and the kids are at school, for example, they'll take on cleaning jobs, particularly here because we're on a campus, so they don't have to leave to do it. There's lots of people. So I have a lady who comes in every other week and blitzes my apartment. Now, my apartment isn't massively large. It's a 2-bed, 1.5 bath. You've seen pictures of the living room and stuff before. So square footage, it's not huge. It is more than enough for what I need it to be. But the fact is, when stuff gets stressful at work and I come home tired, and a lot of teaching with the planning I do at home rather than in school because I don't have that much time that's non-contact. And when I'm on non-contact time, I'm usually in meetings or I'm discussing planning with my teaching partner and things like that. And it's really easy for the apartment just to get dirty. And there's certain jobs I don't like doing, and so I procrastinate on it. And it feels really good. She comes every other Saturday. Actually, she's coming tomorrow. And it feels really good to just go out for a couple of hours, get my groceries, come back, and the house be spotless. It's so nice. And because it's every other week, I can kind of maintain it while she's not there. And then she'll come and do a really good job of it every so often. And it's not that expensive. I pay 10 real, which is about £22. Maybe $30 US. I'm not sure of the exact amounts, but that's just per session. So she usually comes for a couple of hours and just cleans the whole house, and I pay her for the job rather than the time. So Foodie would be in a similar situation, and it sounds like they are building cleaners that also take on personal work. So it wouldn't be that expensive. But the question I have for her would be, what else are you doing? And she does go into that. She's like, it'll free up my time. Free it up for what? Like, I work, I get tired. Do I have to have a cleaner? Probably not. There are definitely times when I prefer to, because if my house is getting messy, it can kind of depress me a little bit. And then, you get the whole rigmarole with the mental health of, well, you deserve to live like this. And it's generally not good. But also I just like having her and I can afford it, so I do it. So I'm not against Foodie having a cleaner. And in fact, I've suggested that to her many times. When we saw the filth that was in the old apartment, I really thought, dude, for the amount you're making, just get someone to clean it so you don't have to live in it. So I don't think it would be a bad thing, because whether she can or whether she can't, or whether she's busy or whether she's not doing it. So there we are. However, there's a whole conversation around her lack of mobility and the fact that cleaning is really the only one job she tends to do. And if she takes that out, she's not going to get more mobile. And when we talk about kind of the learned helplessness of her relying on Salah so much, it just becomes the less she does, the more she convinces herself she can't do. And that's a really slippery slope for somebody already on the edge here. Not a living age, yeah, I didn't think so. If the person were live-in, she would have to sponsor them, or Salah would have to sponsor them on a domestic visa.
I'm just gonna swallow pride and do it. And hey, I give someone a job. It's actually so common that most buildings have like cleaners that come in and do the apartments, and you pay them individually, like each apartment pays them.
I could see that happening. That's what I mean by like the nannies here who come in and then will do cleaning as well. However, her phrase of I'll swallow pride, nah. She's never had any pride in how she presents her house. It has been awful. And I suspect it might have been part of the deal of her coming back, because whether she's mentioning Salah on channel or not, you can bet she is making him pay. She is a vindictive kind of person. And so you've got the two sides of this, where on one hand, she's buying lingerie and she's desperate not to let him go. But on the other, she will not be able to leave this be, and she'll get whatever she can out of the situation. So you want me back? Fine. You love me? Fine. Come back, proof of love, get me a maid, make my life more comfortable. Cosset me a little. And every time something else comes out from Kybella, she's just going to get a bit more. And I was also under the impression that Solara said, no, I'll help you with your health. And yet here we are with a platter of deep fried shrimp.
Because, especially right now, mostly because of my back and my health, like,
she's got very
I'll just
party
have more
eyes.
time to do other things instead of worrying about, like, I think I mostly just want help with, like the things that hurt my back the most are, like, vacuuming.
I will say, in the next video, when she's telling us, oh yeah, I'm getting this made now, next video, her back's totally fine. It's magically disappeared. You know, I got what I wanted and suddenly I'm better. Interesting.
Sweeping, washing floors, the bathrooms, I won't have to do that. That's a good idea.
I don't disagree in terms of living with a better standard of cleanliness, but long term, the impact it's going to have on your inability to do anything is going to be quite shocking, I think. I think it's going to go downhill quite easily. Shocking is maybe the wrong word. I think we're all expecting it.
The setup is weird. I know.
The setup is no weirder than her previous setups. She just has nothing else to talk about.
I never have a good setup. Sorry about that, guys.
Not sorry enough to change it. You've got a whole supposedly spare room that Salah does his gaming in. You could buy things for that room. You could put a better setup in it. You don't.
So yeah, that's my news. Don't really have much else to say. I'm just really exhausted.
Of dealing with the internet.
And the effects, like I said, of this whole trip. It was...
I mean, that's technically true. She's not necessarily talking about the physical effects, but man, there was a lot of drama at the end of that trip.
Hard. I don't want to travel anymore alone either.
I can believe she doesn't want to. She had said that initially when she came back from Thailand, didn't she? Or no, when she went to Canada as well. And she was like, no, I can't do that again for a long time. I'm going to need 2 seats. I'm going to need and then rushed back when all this stuff went down. But I'm wondering here if this is more a message to Salah than it is to us.
I think that is better to travel non-solo for me. I was thinking of Thailand and reminiscing. We were reminiscing about our trip.
Your trip was like 2 months ago.
I would go back there.
I'm guessing at this moment she is missing the weed she had in Canada.
Not for that long, probably. Maybe for a couple of weeks or something.
Would it be a couple of weeks in approximately, 3 months? About then? A little bit bored, thought you might get out. Definitely just a coincidence. Oh, gross.
The vegetable juice is so good. They give you so much shrimp. It's so cheap too. When I was in line,
she went and got the food? That can't be right.
For the check-in counter.
Oh. Yeah, I know I was wrong. It made it sound for a minute like she'd gone to the restaurant to get in line for this. I was like, no way. No way was this not delivered.
It was boring just waiting there, and I could hear, the clerk say, "What's your final destination?"
Well, yeah, that's their job.
Like a movie. I'm gonna make my own tahini sauce. I'm gonna be cooking, don't worry, but I need,
I'm not worried, and your cooking content is quite funny, but you've been home a week, yes, this is slightly older footage, but come on now, I just need to recover. It was a plane journey, man. I can understand, the next day you'd be tired, you maybe take a day off, sleep in, that kind of stuff, but it's been a while.
A few days to cry about my body being in pain so I can...
cry about other things. I'm sure this will help her feel better. This meal right here, she's on the path to health.
Anyway, most people, because there's a connecting flight, the plane from Montreal from Montreal to Doha. So Doha, there's going to be connecting flights. So most of the people from Montreal that were on the plane were going to different countries.
So?
And they were just going to Doha to connect, right? So...
Yeah. It's a major hub.
For example.
No, we know what connecting means. We don't need examples. Was she expecting everyone on that plane to go to Kuwait?
Maybe, a lot of people going home after the holidays. Which I was like, I wonder how busy it's going to be. I don't think I've had a horrible experience. Like,
she just said that trip was horrible and everything that could have happened to her did.
With the airport.
I suppose she means on the airplane, to be fair.
That was just too busy.
I'd know. I've been in Jeddah Airport, in the older part of Jeddah Airport during like the pilgrimage season, and that was insane. That was a lot. For those of you who don't know Jeddah, they have a newer airport and they have an old one, and they've now assigned the older one for Hajj, so it just lets the planes go through and they do it that way. But I can't remember why I had to be in the older airport. I think it was just the airline I was taking for my connecting flight, but it was a lot of people.
I heard the Heathrow airport is bad, but I don't know. I've never been.
Why are we having this conversation? This is just her filling time.
To the Kuwait airport. How it goes is...
Okay, everyone, there's going to be a really weird cut there because my phone filled up and just turned itself off.
You have to go to a special... Like, let's say...
She won't even look at us. Her eyes are darting around. Like, she is trying to imagine how this would work. Like, come on, Foodie.
How do I explain it? There's like different areas of the... I don't even know what it is. You go down the stairs and you have to pass through these kind of officers and they like take your information and...
It's immigration. Civil resident, definitely gone through all the paperwork, doesn't know what to call immigration. Makes total sense.
You fingerprint. Not like police officers, but like...
Immigration?
It's almost like customs.
Immigration.
And, but there's like for different ones. There's one for like... Anyway.
Don't put too much detail. People can tell the lies by details and not the absolute lack of eye contact.
Back. There was a line up the stairs. Like, it was busy.
Yeah. Think about how slow Foodie moves. Whatever amount of people there were on the plane, she is going to be at the very back of that line. Because everyone's got this airport walk you do, right? Where you get off the plane and you speed walk like you have never walked before. You don't run, but you walk faster than any human person has ever walked as you go through, like from the plane to arrivals to immigration to things, because you're trying to beat the line. Foodie isn't going to be able to do that.
It was like a huge line wrapping around and going up and down and all around. And I was like, oh my gosh. I walked all the way to the back of the line. And then, thank goodness, somebody came up to me, one of the workers, and was like, ma'am, you don't need to be in this line. It's for people who need like a certain paper, certain visa. I'm like, oh.
So what Foodie is trying to imply here, with her vast and deep knowledge of the immigration and visa system, is that because she is obviously a legal resident of Kuwait, she didn't need to be in the visa line. Because of course, she's not a tourist. I actually thought all the tourist visas were e-visas, but maybe they also have a visa on arrival, I don't know. I don't think so though, so I'm not sure what visa she means at this point. But I know when I came into Oman, I did have to take my permit to show that, no, I'm arriving with the intent of converting this, so maybe it was that line. I don't know. But if you're not used to international travel, what actually happens at immigration, which is the word for that, is there are multiple lines for different types of passport holders. So you'll have, or ID holders. So you'll have a line for civilians because they can go through quite quickly. They've already got the passport for the country. They don't need a visa to be there. There'll be sometimes a line either for residents. In Japan, they just called them aliens. So there was a line for aliens who already have the paperwork they need and can just show like an ID, or there might be a gate that you can put your ID on. Or in some airports, they just have a section for GCC residents, because I don't know if this is still the case post-COVID. Some countries do this, because when I was coming back from Bahrain, I used my civil ID, or they were going to have me use my civil ID to go through a gate, and then I didn't end up doing that. And this is maybe what's happened to Foodie here, if this story exists at all and isn't just made up by her. When you do the GCC or residence line versus the foreign passports line, which is what I would be, sometimes that line is really overwhelmed, particularly when you're going into a Middle Eastern country where tourism isn't such a big thing. So if you've got a ton of people who either were born there or work there, which is very much the case with Kuwait, the line for foreign passports for people just visiting is usually shorter. And when you have somebody who's obviously visibly foreign, the way Chantal is, it wouldn't shock me if a worker had come over and said, no, come into here, it's shorter, because it's for foreign passports. So I think if this happened at all, that's a much more likely scenario, that there was a big queue in the civil ID line or the GCC residence line, and she was told to go to the foreign passports line, is probably what's happened there.
So I got to go right through. And then I had to get my luggage.
You are shifty-eyed.
I never forget what my luggage looks like the intricate details. It's like black suitcases.
Which is often the reason why I don't buy black suitcases. In a minute, she says that she didn't have her name on the suitcase, and I'm like, excuse you, what are you doing? But like, I know they have the luggage tag, so it's in the system. They usually just stick it on the back of your passport, so I guess they could still track it. But sometimes when you get off a plane, if it's busy in the like baggage claim area, they'll just wheel your luggage in instead of putting it onto a carousel. And so you have to just go and collect your luggage from the pile. You need to know what it looks like, and you need to be able to describe what it looks like in case it's not in that pile. Now, I actually take a picture of my luggage before I fly. So I put it on, I put an ID tag with my name and my email address, not my regular address, because I'm always a bit paranoid about people going, oh, she lives here and she's traveling, let me go rob the house. But I want them to be able to get into contact with me. So before I leave the morning of, I take a picture of my suitcase on my phone. So if anything goes astray and they're like, what does the case look like? I can just show them the picture. It's way easier.
So how many people have black suitcases? You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? What else would you mean by that question? She's scraping the bottom of the conversational barrel here.
Anyway, thanks for watching and having this meal with me. Just thought I would catch you up on how I'm feeling. Of course, a lot of complaints about how I'm feeling because...
Yep, and then she didn't look at us again. She was like, yeah, I just thought I'd catch you up. Yeah, no, you weren't trying to avoid a conversation at all. I'm going to leave this one here, and I will cut down all the crap I was talking as we go, because it's getting long again. Let's go on to her next one. We have health updates. Bear in mind, she's just eaten that. But it's okay, guys. Doesn't seem to matter that her organs are one by one failing her, because if she loses weight, everything's fine.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another video.
Ooh, that was full influencer voice. Thing seems off about her face. And I don't just mean the fact that it's filtered on, but something.
So, I'm a little hyper. I'm feeling a lot better today. I got some good sleep last night.
Just for the record, you panting as you sit there is not you hyper.
And, probably about 12 hours. So I'm feeling a lot better. And my sciatica's kind of in remission, whatever you call it. So I thought this...
The sciatica that you didn't get diagnosed with is in remission. Okay.
Video, I would just kind of tell you a bit about, how I've been eating to keep...
We saw how you were eating.
Keep from binge eating, which I've been successfully binge-free.
Question. I realise mentally the difference between a binge and a large meal, as much as she would like to tell us that she knows better. What exactly would you call the meal she just ate? It was 4 people's worth of rice and fish. Just because you think you made that as a controlled decision doesn't change the fact that you ate a binge's worth of food. So if you're not changing the amount you're eating, surely the difference is kind of academic.
Since coming home, and also I'm going to do a grocery haul to show you, a stock up on
this should go well.
Things that I plan on using to make healthy meals.
And this is one of the reasons I'm wondering about this timeline, because she had her strawberry and salad 4 a.m. video and she would have needed groceries for that. So, and she seems to have been eating takeout for the last few days while she recovered. So I feel like she's mixing up all the footage here.
So basically, I have done a lot of research in the past.
Not now, in the past.
Comes to recovering from binge eating disorder, and mainly I would watch videos. I read a couple of books. I read The Binge Code. There's Brain Over Binge. There's different books out there and literature and videos of people who have overcome their binge eating, and a lot of them have come up with a kind of food diary or food plan throughout the day, and a lot of it involves eating every few hours.
So here's the thing. Chantal has done this many a time. Congratulations, we're back in stage 1. So her cycle continues. It's not that we don't expect it, but the problem with this stage of the cycle is Foodie seems to believe she is facing the same issues as she's always faced. So her main topic of conversation here is going to be, oh, my binge eating, my health, I need to do this, and I just need to get a little better rather than I need to completely change. I'm focusing on small steps. But her health is in a much different condition than it was when she's been doing these things before. She's got diabetes, she's got the problems with her kidney, she's got problems with her liver, with her enlarged heart. Like, her organs are just giving up. And she had instructions from her diabetic doctor. So she doesn't get to prioritize what needs to be done here. She needs to follow the doctor's plan. And she's not, because as ever, she is special. She is unique. The only plan that will work is the one that she puts down, because she can convince herself that things can fit into it when they can't. And you just don't understand, you guys. The only person she is kidding is herself, and her body is not going to stand for it. You've got to remember, in a recent video, she was like, oh, I won't make it to 45. She's nearly 40. She's saying, I won't live more than 5 years. And she's still pulling this crap.
So that you don't get that hunger creeping in, where your mind starts going to those cravings, and that that autopilot kicks in, and you just want to eat everything in sight. So, and
she still won't look at us.
I found too, a lot of the time that I saw like similarities between these people in recovery was that a lot of them would eat very substantial little mini meals,
Somebody tell me what that means. And this is what I mean when I say, if you stop and think back of what she's actually said, some of them would eat very substantial little mini meals. That is a contradiction in terms.
Also something that has a bit of every food group and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to do is prepare meals, not skipping meals, but preparing meals that are satisfying, healthy, and have a bit of everything in them to satisfy.
Like deep fried shrimp and rice?
Pretty much every single craving that will come up.
I'm not saying that this can't be a valid way forward for people only struggling with binge eating, and I say only, I'm not belittling that at all. I know it's very hard. It will satisfy every craving. Do you remember when she was during her last health kick, when she was like cherry picking different points of view from different types of often like at odds dieting plans? So she was saying, okay, natural foods, and then she was ordering steak and putting a big slab of butter on it, because that butter will stop a binge. Because she was just taking little bits and pieces from different types of diets and trying to smush them all together. Not allowing yourself to get hungry might prevent some cravings, because you never get to the point where you're making that switch over where you're like, oh God, I'm hungry now. I just want to eat everything. But frequently, that's not the issue that Chantal has. She's not eating because she's hungry. Her hunger is a head hunger a lot of the time, and she's not addressing the head stuff.
And try to trigger me into binge eating. So as you're gonna see, things like for breakfast, like I know I always say I have like a love-hate relationship with eggs, but the truth is they do keep me full.
I had eggs this morning.
Pretty long enough anyways to get to lunch. So you're gonna see things that I eat, and I'm not perfect yet. This is
not perfect is such a catch-all for her.
Very new for me, and
this isn't new for you. We, the community, literally have the Chantal cycle because this is infamously not new for you.
And I'm trying to not diet, not adopt a restrictive diet because that will just not last. Any diet I've tried to do, I end up just binging double time. So,
but if she says, okay, this isn't a binge and so I can eat it, she won't actually reduce the food. And that's the issue. Like, basically, if you're just finding a way to convince yourself that you can eat the same amount of food, but it's not a binge, then you never have to change and you're succeeding. And Foodie has tried that many times before and it doesn't work.
I'm trying to make this like a lifestyle change, a healthy lifestyle.
But there's no change.
And right now I'm down 10 pounds so far. I will do another weigh-in in the future. But I'm also looking at non-scale victories, just like not binge eating is
like not having your kidneys fail.
Like a huge thing for me.
You ate a platter of rice for 4. I would classify that as binging. And again, this is another thing, like, well, it's not as bad as I could do, so it's not bad. No, you've done worse, but it's still terrible.
I can't tell you the amount of willpower it takes to not give into a binge, and
we've just
that
seen
for me makes me feel confident. It makes me wake up every day.
That is a misplaced confidence, friend.
Be happier.
Oh, I bet it makes you happy.
More confident to start the day and go through another day binge free. So I want my channel to be meaningful to people who are going through similar things that I am. I don't want my channel to be negative anymore. I don't
want to talk about Salah, and I don't want you to ever bring up the screenshots again. Not screenshots, they were pictures of her phone. Like, just please don't talk about this because I can't give up my channel because that's how I make my money, but I don't want to talk about it. So please just accept this change because of course this change won't just cause me to fall on my face and rage online. This won't be like all the other times.
I don't want it to be trivial. I don't want it to just be,
poo jokes.
That kind of thing. I want it to
I don't consider what's happening with Salah trivial. I think it's funny as fuck, but I don't find it trivial.
I want to go in the direction of something kind of meaningful and try my best, to help people. And I have a long way to go, I know, but, I have to start somewhere.
I don't believe any of this is going to happen, but go ahead.
This is probably about the 500th restart.
Yep.
I'm done on my channel, but...
You suckered me in many a time. You're not doing it this time.
And I don't mean like being a super inspiration to people in the sense that...
Good that you're not setting that expectation for yourself, because I can tell you it's not going to be.
I'm not very successful at what I'm trying to do.
Clip it. What are we on? 5 minutes. Clip it.
So one day, inshallah, I will be. But in the meantime, if you're a person going through these things, and if my videos can just even help you feel less lonely, because I find that, eating disorders and issues with food are very lonely.
Beezers, even though I've said the things I've said, pity me. Pity me, Beezers, because I don't really want to do an ER visit right now, and that would be the most obvious thing. And we don't know exactly what's happening behind the scenes with Salah right now, but We don't know if they're on good enough terms to be just hopping over to the ER. We don't know what their finances are like right now. They spent a lot on groceries. They spent a lot on flights. Like, Beezers, I'm lonely. I've in no way maneuvered myself into this position and poisoned every relationship I've had and then raged about the fact that people betray me because they don't support me unconditionally. But it's lonely and you don't understand.
And that doesn't help as well. So
if only your husband was there to make you feel less lonely. But given current situation, I'm guessing just having him there and knowing is making her more so.
We can all be in this together. We can all support each other. And
deal. That I will agree to. We are here together, Foodie. Okay, yeah. We're all in it. Look how happy. Look how happy she is. We're all in it together. She doesn't rage at people who watch her.
Yeah, so that's my ultimate goal with everything.
Oh, well, I will help you with that goal. I'll stay.
I just want to kind of mix that with some cooking, maybe some mukbangs of just what I'm eating and cooking, interesting. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that.
All right, so we can expect homemade chicken poutine with raw flour gravy.
But, yeah, so feeling kind of hyper, as you can see.
What I see is not you being hyper. What I see you is bullshitting, and I do use that phrase purposefully, your way to try and show, look how hyperactive I am, to show how falsely happy you are, because nothing bothers you, because we're all done with that now.
All right, so let's get into just a few things that are like sample meals that I've eaten today that have kept me pretty satiated.
Oh, I hate the word. I hate the word, and she only brings it when she's being smug nutritional, Chantal.
I would say I find foods that have a lot of, like, mixing protein and fiber is like, you're going to be full for a long time.
That's true. So we should expect to see lots of, what did the doctor say? Fish, chicken, yeah, no red meat, lots of like broccoli and things that fill you up, like fresh vegetables, yeah? Because you've got to look after all your different body parts that have got different problems. Fiber, protein, I'll keep an eye
out. So, you know, beans and whole wheat rice or stuff like that.
I was going to say brown rice, whole wheat rice. Brown rice is not a bad thing. However, your doctor did say to not limit carbs in the sense of eat low carb, but be careful of your carb portions. Beans and rice does make a complete protein, but it was what, the half hand or the handful or something once a day. Let's just see how that goes. We'll ignore the fat for the moment. She just had all that rice.
With like a piece of chicken. I'm still full from my binge lunch, and I still am I'm still allowing myself.
No, you said that correctly. Your doctor told you not to eat certain things because it was killing you.
Another meal before I cut myself off and let my body just digest what I have for the day.
When she says cut herself off, that sounds a lot like restriction.
Basically, I'm trying to eat within a window like the diabetic doctor here suggested.
Yeah, let's bring him up so we can cherry pick the advice he gives us. We could say, oh yes, an eating window, because that kind of falls in with intermittent fasting, which is popular enough that she's willing to consider it. But let's just ignore him when it comes to the food.
So, you know, we eat breakfast in the morning when I get up pretty early, and then finish eating no later. He said no later than 8, but I'll probably.
So that 4 a.m. meal was a great touch. I realise her 4 a.m. meal was just salad, strawberries, and a load of dressing. I do realise that, but 4 a.m.
Probably eat around 7. So, that's because I don't want to eat if I'm not like even a little bit hungry, you know.
I mean, he did say don't ever skip a meal. So I thought the point was that you don't get hungry. You eat on a schedule, so you're not relying on hunger, which is a flawed system because it's as much brain as it is body. So she's not sleeping more than 2.5 hours at a time. She did last night, but wasn't more than 2.5 hours at a time. Who believes she wasn't filling her nighttime with food? Bearing in mind she went online at 4 a.m. with food. Yeah? These things don't add up, madam.
So all in all, I'm just focusing on being binge free because that is the thing that has mostly been very detrimental to my health, is that
I would argue there are other things being detrimental to your health that I would prioritize first. It's very hard to focus on binging when your liver fails.
Overconsumption of, multiple calories at once. Probably thousands of calories at once.
That's closer.
And in order to do that, my method is learning from the experience of others and also doing what they do and eating frequent meals throughout the day to avoid binges.
So not 3 square meals then, and not what your doctor says.
So, all right, I'll show you what I ate now, and then I'll show you my grocery haul.
Okay.
Yella. Okay, that can't be right.
That cannot be right. Also, if you got a really unusual reading on a smashed blood monitor, why would you presume that that was right? Why would you not, just because you said how cheap it was, go out and buy a new one?
I'm going to take it one more time.
What, on the broken machine?
That's crazy low. Okay, wow. That is pretty low. The screen cracked a bit, but I don't know if that would make a difference. I guess I'll see as the day goes on.
I guess. If you drop dead, we'll know.
Which is weird because I've missed a bit of my medication, but I have been...
Again, taking her health really seriously. Oh, I think I'm going to go back to Kuwait. I think I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to get back on the medication. She claimed to be back on the medication near the end of Canada. So when did she get off the medication?
Fasting. So that could be why. I've been fasting for like 14 hours. I don't know. We'll see. So I started off with this bowl of strawberries. I ate about half of them and put the rest in the refrigerator. I then had some cherry tomatoes with a bit of black pepper, 2 eggs with a cheese slice, and 1 pita. It was very good and satisfying.
Okay, so the doctor said brown carbs. She's eating a white pita, but 1 pita, every time. This is not in and of itself a bad meal. She needs to let go of her obsession with cheese, which, believe me, will come up later. But there we are.
For breakfast. I then made for lunch some baked chicken thighs that I seasoned.
Speaking of, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this, I thought it was cheese. I didn't think it was rice. It was more believable that it would be cheese.
And marinated the night before. Had 2 of those with the skin removed, and I had some spinach rice and some baked beans in tomato sauce.
Now bear in mind, when she's showing us this, she's only shown this and the other thing half eaten. So the portion she actually had, you can see from where the rice is, the fact that the chicken was just on top of it, because we got that the rice almost filled up the plate. And then she just piled some beans on top of it, the baked beans, which are usually quite sugary, be careful. So the portion she's showing us is not the portion she's eating. And also, 1 slice of whole wheat toast a day was a conversation we had with the doctor. You're already on your 2nd portion of carbs, and it was obviously more than that.
All right, so this is my final meal of the evening. Okay. So just made some tuna. This is 1 tablespoon of light mayo, some dill flakes, pepper, and no salt because it's...
So the dressing, was that part of the dressing she made the other day for her 4 a.m. salad? Because it sounds like the same recipe. Or am I being naive and thinking there was any left? That's the serving bowl again, which I guess while she's not showing it us, and another piece of bread. She doesn't need a carb for all of them. Again, the meal itself, not a terrible thing. But when you stack everything together, and that's presuming, which is a big presumption, that she's not consuming anything else, she's still not following the doctor's plan. What she's got isn't terrible, but she's falling into that trap of being, well, it's so much better than it was. Just follow what the doctor said.
Canned fish, which has sodium, 1 pita, and a salad. I know it looks like a lot of dressing, but
yeah, it is a lot of dressing.
It is about 2 to 3.
It's a lot of dressing, and again, it's a lot of cheese. You can see the cheese under the dressing. Choose one or the other, but actually your doctor said reduce cheese, didn't they? Or cut out cheese. So why did you need cheese on this salad? You didn't need it. And that's the thing. Are you doing okay if it was this in isolation? Yeah. But it's just going to show how she justifies having the things that she shouldn't.
Tablespoons. I'm gonna have to try to cut back. Normally I put like almost half the bottle, so 3 tablespoons might seem like a lot, but it's still not that much for me. And
again, for you, you don't have your own special biology.
And I've been drinking water the whole day, nothing else.
Okay, we're back again. I got a phone call. I've had a lot of interruptions today. I think to just shorten this up, I'm just going to take a screenshot of the groceries she got and just talk about it this way, just to make it a little bit quicker. So she had 2 loads of shopping, and I giggled like an 11-year-old boy when she used the word load, because I'm sorry. We will never forget, and it doesn't matter how she tries to redesign her content. I am not going to be able to listen to her say crap, bullshit, load, anything else that connects to poop in any form. I'm just going to giggle. So the first haul wasn't too bad. There were some things that she was like, it's not for me, like the cookies that I can see right there. But there's also quite a lot of cheese in this haul. Or at least I thought there was a lot of cheese until I saw the next one. The sheer amount of food they have is quite shocking, especially when you consider how much she's also ordering out. Because when you look at everything she's got, there's actually not much in terms of meals, like components for meals. She needs to like plan meals first and then order the food for them, because you can do a lot with not so much food. You can have food one day, eat the leftovers the next day. Like there's loads of channels online that will teach you about batch cooking in that way, so that you don't have to spend so much. But she's got, if you look at the cauliflower down below, like we have on the right hand side a lot of healthy food, and there's nothing wrong in terms of the individual foods. There's nothing exactly wrong, but I doubt they're going to get through all that produce. So it's there mainly for show. And I also don't understand why she has 2 full bags of oranges, because oranges are going to be quite high sugar and hit her quite hard. There were other fruits. Now she's eaten strawberries a couple of times. She could eat strawberries. I don't see them in this haul. I thought the cherry tomatoes were the strawberries, by the way, but it turns out no. Fruits and vegetables are okay, but she's choosing ones that are reasonably high sugar. There are better ways to do it, and I don't think she's doing it with any kind of plan in place. What are you going to make with oranges, carrots, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes? There are things you could make, but what are you going to make? She had 3 full bags of salt. And by bags, I mean, they looked like they were a kilo a bag, something like that. I thought they were sugar initially. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't she, at some point during one of the last grocery hauls, buy a ton of, I think it was Himalayan salt, healthier salt, and say it was on sale and that's why I bought it, because it was a huge amount then. So she's already got that in stock. When she says organizing, I think it's knowing what she has in her kitchen cupboards, because she complains about it at the beginning of the next haul. But we've got like 30 slices of processed cheese. We've got about 6 bags of shredded cheese. We've got white pita. We've got cookies that she claims are not for her. We've got 2 things of peanut butter she claims are not for her. And we've got red meat. I can believe the condensed milk little caplets are for tea, for Salah, but just like we said when she bought all of those chocolate bars that were going to last a really long time, if she decides at one point I need sugar, she will eat anything that's there. But all in all, you look at it, you go, okay, $66, 20 KD. All right, I get it. I don't know how much you're going to make of it, but I get it. I don't know what's in your fridge freezer. And then she pulls up this one. She's got more boxes of cheese. She's got multiple packs of halloumi. That top one is butter, but all the ones underneath are a soft cheese that she seems to have multiple pieces of, because you go to the deli, they just put them in there. That is a lot. That is a lot. She's got more pita. Yes, she's got cabbage behind there. She's got a ton of dressing, flour, because she's going to make a whole wheat crust chicken pot pie. She's hiding a massive container of Nutella behind the olive oil, because it's not for her. She's just got a ton of dairy, a ton of processed foods for the freezer, like the chicken strips and stuff like that, because she's probably got in her head, well, if I make it at home, it's healthier, so we won't have takeout, we'll have stuff I do in the air fryer. It's still not healthier for you. And she has a lot of, not a lot compared to what she'd had before, which would be her argument, but the Maggi chicken noodle soup, and you see some ramen packets as well. You know they're for her. Come on, you know they're for her. Now, are there things in here that would make more sense? She's got tuna, she's got some other things that, yes, could be okay. She bought some whole wheat pasta, which whole wheat spaghetti in controlled amounts would theoretically be fine. But again, even when you add this enormous amount of groceries, and her total grocery haul came to about $250. How much is stuff she can make? So let's say, okay, she has chicken strips and French fries for a meal. The two of them do. She's got ramen for snacks. She's got cheese and cheese and cheese for what? She's got cauliflower there. She might make cauliflower cheese, but why do you need a cheesy sauce? It's like your reduction in dairy is not going to help you. The cheese is going to be high salt. Halloumi is very high salt. It's good protein, but it's high salt. And again, when I look at it, I don't really see meals as such. Even when you put them all together, she's got maybe 2 or 3 meals out of this, but it's $250. She's got no idea really what she wants to do past those 1 or 2 meals, which means it's either going to rot or she's going to eat the bit she actually likes as snacks and then blame everybody for the fact that she couldn't stick to a plan. So the real name of the game here is going to be, how long can Foodie go actually not talking about anything? And who will she rage at, I think we all know, when she finally breaks that silence? Because it's not going to be long. She doesn't have the disposition to be able to resist it. So we are going to see a lot more videos like this, and then it's just going to creep in, or one day she's going to look up herself online and something's not going to hit right, and she's just going to do a rager. And that's basically what we're waiting for. This is the quiet before the storm. It's just going to build up because she doesn't like this content. She doesn't like cooking. She doesn't like the health arc. She gets very defensive and angry when she fails a health arc, even without all the other stuff. And now everybody in the community has something to laugh at her about because of what Salah did. So it's not looking good for her, even if she's putting out this content right now. And with that, I think I am going to leave you. I'm going to try and split together all these bits of footage into something somewhat manageable. And if she rages, we'll come on back. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.